Lucien Wilder rejected his fated mate in front of the entire kingdom, called her unworthy, not strong enough, a mistake. Then Kane Frost, his greatest enemy, stepped forward and claimed her instead. Right there, in front of everyone. And Lucien could do nothing but watch. If you want a story about rejection, revenge, and the rival who saw what the king was too blind to see, hit that subscribe button right now. Because Ivy Belle is about to become the one thing Lucien Wilder can never have back. Ivy Belle was 19 when the mate bond snapped into place. She felt it during the blood moon ceremony. The pull. The recognition. The absolute certainty that she belonged to someone and they belonged to her. Her wolf surged forward, desperate to find him. To complete the bond. To finally have what every wolf dreamed of. She followed the pull through the crowd of celebrating wolves. Past the dancing. Past the bonfires. Straight to the raised platform where the Alpha King sat on his throne. Lucien Wilder. The most powerful alpha in the northern kingdoms. Ruler of 5 territories. Commander of the largest pack in recorded history. 25 years old and already legendary. And he was staring right at her. She felt the bond lock into place. Saw recognition flash across his face. For one perfect moment, Ivy thought her life was beginning. Then Lucien stood. His face twisted with something that looked like disgust. And Ivy's world started to crumble. You. His voice carried across the suddenly silent ceremony. Every wolf within earshot turned to watch. You're my mate. Ivy's throat closed. She couldn't speak. Could barely breathe. The bond was screaming at her. Begging her to go to him. To touch him. To seal the connection before something went wrong. But her feet wouldn't move. What's your rank? Lucien demanded, descending from the platform. He moved like a predator. All lethal grace and contained violence. Every step closer made Ivy's wolf whimper. I'm a healer. Her voice came out barely above a whisper. From the eastern border pack. Not an alpha bloodline. It wasn't a question. Lucien stopped 3 feet away. Close enough that she could feel heat radiating off him. Close enough to see the cold calculation in his amber eyes. Not even a beta family. No. But the mate bond. The mate bond is wrong. Lucien cut her off. His voice dropped to something dangerous. Something that made every wolf in the clearing take a step back. I am the Alpha King. I need a mate who can stand beside me. Who can rule. Who has power and presence and strength. Not a healer from a border pack nobody's ever heard of. Each word hit like a physical blow. Ivy felt tears burning behind her eyes but refused to let them fall. Not here. Not in front of hundreds of witnesses. Not while the entire kingdom watched her humiliation. The moon goddess chose. The moon goddess made a mistake. Lucien's words rang out across the clearing. Final. Absolute. I reject this bond. I reject you, Ivy Belle, as my mate and future queen. The rejection hit like lightning. Like someone had reached into her chest and set fire to every nerve. Ivy collapsed. Couldn't help it. The pain was everywhere. All-consuming. Mate bond rejections were supposed to be private. Gentle. Done with care because the pain could kill. Lucien had rejected her in front of the entire kingdom. And he didn't even stay to see if she survived. Through the agony, Ivy watched him walk away. Watched the crowd part for him. Watched the Alpha King return to his throne like nothing had happened. Like he hadn't just destroyed someone's entire world. Then she heard footsteps. Someone was walking toward her. Through the pain, Ivy looked up. And saw Kane Frost. The northern kingdoms had 2 Alpha Kings. Lucien Wilder ruled the western territories. Kane Frost commanded the eastern lands. They'd been rivals since birth. Competing for power, for territory, for dominance. The entire kingdom knew they hated each other. That they'd fought 3 wars in the last decade alone. And now Kane Frost was kneeling beside her. In front of everyone. While Lucien watched from his throne. Breathe, Kane said quietly. His voice was different from Lucien's. Rougher. Like gravel and smoke. The pain will pass. I promise. I can't, Ivy gasped. The rejection was still tearing through her. Still destroying everything the bond had tried to build. Yes, you can. You're stronger than you think. Kane's hand hovered near her shoulder but didn't touch. May I? The contact will help. Not much. But some. Ivy managed a nod. Couldn't do much else. Kane's hand settled on her shoulder and the pain eased. Just a fraction. Just enough that she could breathe without feeling like her lungs were being shredded. That's it. Just breathe. In and out. You're going to survive this. Kane glanced toward Lucien's throne. Something dark flashed across his face. And then you're going to make him regret every word. Ivy wanted to ask what he meant. But the pain surged again and all she could do was try not to scream. Kane stayed beside her. His hand steady on her shoulder. A stranger offering comfort while her mate, former mate, sat on his throne and watched her suffer. It took 10 minutes for the worst of the pain to pass. 10 minutes of public agony while the entire ceremony watched. Some wolves looked sympathetic. Others looked uncomfortable. A few looked satisfied. Like they'd wanted to see the Alpha King's rejected mate break. When Ivy could finally stand, Kane helped her up. Then he did something that made the entire clearing go silent. He turned to face Lucien. And smiled. That was quite a performance, Wilder. Kane's voice carried across the clearing. Casual. Almost amused. Rejecting your fated mate in front of the kingdom. Very dramatic. Lucien's face darkened. Stay out of this, Frost. Oh, but I can't. You see, you just made a very interesting mistake. Kane's arm wrapped around Ivy's waist. Supporting her. Steadying her. You rejected a mate you deemed unworthy. Which means she's now free to accept another bond. Isn't that right? The crowd murmured. Ivy's foggy brain tried to process what Kane was saying. Wolves could form chosen bonds. Not as strong as fated bonds. But still powerful. Still legitimate. And Kane Frost was. I'm claiming her. Kane's words rang out clear and absolute. Right here. Right now. Before the entire kingdom. Ivy Belle, I offer you my protection. My territory. My name. Everything Lucien Wilder was too blind to see you deserve. The clearing exploded into chaos. Wolves shouting. Some in shock. Some in outrage. Some in disbelief. Through it all, Ivy heard Lucien's voice. Cold and lethal. You can't do this. Can't I? Kane's smile widened. She's no longer bonded to you. You made sure of that. Which means she's free to accept my claim. Unless you'd like to contest it? Challenge me for her. Silence. Thick and heavy. Because everyone knew what Kane was doing. He was baiting Lucien. Forcing him into an impossible choice. If Lucien challenged, he'd look like a hypocrite. Claiming he didn't want Ivy but fighting to keep her away from Kane. If he didn't challenge, he'd lose face. Would look weak. Lucien's jaw clenched. She's not worth fighting over. Then you won't mind if I take her. Kane looked down at Ivy. His ice blue eyes were gentle despite his predatory smile. What do you say, Ivy Belle? Want to become the thing the Alpha King threw away? Want to show him exactly what he lost? Ivy should have said no. Should have walked away from both of them. But she was 19 and heartbroken and still reeling from the worst pain she'd ever experienced. And Kane Frost was offering her a way to not be destroyed by this. A way to survive with her dignity intact. Yes. Her voice came out stronger than she expected. I accept your claim. Kane's smile turned triumphant. He lifted Ivy's hand and kissed her knuckles. The gesture was formal. Old-fashioned. A public declaration of intent. Then he turned back to Lucien. She's mine now, Wilder. Remember that. Then Kane swept Ivy up in his arms, because she still couldn't walk properly, and carried her out of the ceremony. Out of Lucien's territory. Away from the Alpha King who'd rejected her and toward whatever Kane Frost had planned. Behind them, the crowd erupted into shocked whispers. And Lucien Wilder sat on his throne, watching his fated mate leave with his greatest enemy, and said absolutely nothing. The journey to Kane's territory took 3 days. Ivy spent most of it sleeping, recovering from the rejection. The pain had faded but the exhaustion was bone deep. Every time she woke, Kane was there. Making sure she ate. Making sure she was comfortable. Never pushing. Never demanding. Just quietly taking care of her. On the 3rd evening they reached Frostmere Keep. Kane's fortress. It was different from Lucien's palace. Darker. More severe. Built from black stone that seemed to absorb light. But inside it was warm. Tapestries covered the walls. Fires burned in every hearth. It felt lived in. Real. Not like Lucien's cold perfect palace. Your rooms, Cain said, opening a door. You'll have the entire east wing. Privacy. Space. Whatever you need. Ivy stepped inside and stopped. The rooms were beautiful. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a forest. Thick carpets. A massive bed. Bookshelves lining every wall. Someone had clearly prepared this space. Made it perfect for someone who loved reading and quiet. How did you? I had people research you. After Lucien's rejection. Wanted to know what you liked. What would make you comfortable? Cain leaned against the doorframe. I hope that's not too invasive. You planned this. Ivy turned to face him. The claiming. You planned it. I saw an opportunity. Cain didn't deny it. Lucien rejected his fated mate. I knew he would. The man's too proud to accept anyone he sees as beneath him. So yes, I plan to offer you a claim. To get under his skin. To take something he clearly didn't value but would hate to lose. So I'm what? A weapon. A way to hurt him. At first? Yes. Cain's honesty was startling. But then I actually met you. Watched you survive that rejection with more grace than most wolves could manage. Saw you accept my claim even though you were terrified. Even though you didn't know if you could trust me. That takes strength, Ivy. Real strength. The kind Lucien was too blind to see. What do you want from me? Ivy asked bluntly. Really? Cain considered the question. I want you to heal. To recover. To become whoever you're meant to be without someone telling you you're not enough. And yes, I want Lucien to see exactly what he threw away. Want him to watch you thrive. Want him to regret every word he said to you. Is that selfish? Absolutely. But I think we both want the same thing. So why not work together? It was mercenary. Calculating. But also honest. Cain wasn't pretending this was a love story. Wasn't offering false comfort. He was offering a partnership. A way for both of them to get what they wanted. I want to learn to fight, Ivy said. I'm a healer. But I want to be more. Want to be strong enough that no one ever looks at me the way Lucien did again. Done. I'll train you myself. And I want to make him regret it. Really regret it. Cain's smile was sharp and satisfied. That, Ivy Belle, is something I can absolutely help with. Training started the next morning. Cain was a brutal teacher. Demanding. Unforgiving. He pushed Ivy past every limit she thought she had. Made her fight when she wanted to quit. Made her keep going when everything hurt. But he was also patient. Never cruel. When Ivy fell, he helped her up. When she made progress, he acknowledged it. And slowly, painfully, Ivy started to change. Started to become something different than the scared 19-year-old who'd been rejected in front of a kingdom. Months passed. Ivy trained with Cain every morning. Studied politics and strategy with his advisors every afternoon. Learned to move through Cain's court with confidence. Learned to speak with authority. To command attention without demanding it. And through it all, Cain kept his distance. He claimed her publicly but never pushed for anything physical. Never treated her like property. He was building something else. Trust. Partnership. Friendship even. You're different than I expected, Ivy said one night. They were having dinner in Cain's study. Something they'd started doing regularly. Just talking. No agenda. No pressure. How so? You're supposed to be the monster. Lucien's evil rival. The villain trying to destroy his kingdom. Cain laughed. And what do you think now? I think Lucien believes his own propaganda. You're not trying to destroy anything. You're just not willing to bow to him. And he can't stand it. Very perceptive. Cain poured more wine. Lucien and I were childhood friends. Did you know that? Ivy shook her head. We grew up together. Trained together. We're supposed to rule together. United kingdoms. But Lucien couldn't accept sharing power. Thought he deserved it all. So he started a war. And I fought back. Simple as that. Nothing's ever simple with alphas. True. Cain's smile was rueful. But the basic truth is this. Lucien wants submission. I offer partnership. He couldn't accept you because you weren't born powerful enough. I'm training you to become powerful. We're very different people, Ivy. I'm starting to notice. 6 months after the rejection, Cain threw a ball. Invited every alpha family in the northern kingdoms, including Lucien. The entire kingdom knew it was a power play. Cain showing off, proving his territory was just as strong, just as wealthy, just as powerful as Lucien's. What they didn't know was that Cain was showing off something else. Someone else. You don't have to do this, Cain said as Ivy prepared. We can skip the ball. Find another way. No. Ivy checked her reflection. 6 months of training had changed her. She was stronger, leaner, more confident. The scared girl was gone. I want to do this. Want him to see. Then let's make an entrance. The ballroom fell silent when they arrived. Cain in formal black, Ivy in deep emerald that matched her eyes. They moved through the crowd like they owned it. Cain's hand on Ivy's waist, protective but not possessive. Every wolf they passed watched, whispered. Then Ivy saw him. Lucien, standing near the throne, a beautiful woman on his arm. Some beta from a powerful family. Not his mate, just someone acceptable, someone who fit. Their eyes met across the ballroom, and Ivy smiled. Not a friendly smile. Something sharper. Something that said she'd survived. She'd thrived. She'd become exactly what he'd said she couldn't. Lucien's face went blank, carefully neutral. But Ivy saw his hand tighten on his companion's waist. Saw the muscle jump in his jaw. Saw the moment he realized she wasn't broken. Wasn't destroyed. Was standing in his rival's territory looking like a queen. Dance with me, Cain said quietly. Not a command. An invitation. Yes. They moved to the dance floor. Cain was a good dancer. Better than good. He led her through the steps with practiced ease. And the entire ballroom watched. Watched the Alpha King's rejected mate dancing with his greatest enemy. Watched her laugh at something Cain said. Watched her look happy. He can't stop staring, Cain murmured. Been watching you since we walked in. Good. Ivy kept her smile in place. Let him watch. The song ended. Cain bowed. Then did something unexpected. He stepped back and gestured to the crowd. Anyone else want to dance with the most interesting woman in the room? 3 alphas immediately stepped forward. Young, wealthy, powerful. And suddenly Ivy was dancing with someone else. Then someone else. Then someone else. Every alpha in the room wanted a turn. Wanted to be seen with her. Wanted to be part of whatever story was unfolding. And Lucien watched. Couldn't stop watching. His date tried to get his attention. Failed. Because Lucien Wilder, the Alpha King who'd rejected his fated mate, couldn't take his eyes off her. The ball ended near midnight. Wolves started leaving, filtering out into the night. Ivy was saying goodbye to some of Cain's advisors when she felt it. The pull. Not the mate bond. That was dead. But something else. Awareness. Recognition. She turned. Lucien was standing 10 feet away. Alone. His date had left. The ballroom was nearly empty. Just Cain's guards stationed at the doors. Just a few servants cleaning up. Just enough privacy to be dangerous. Ivy. Lucien's voice was different. Rough. Like he'd been silent too long. Can we talk? No. Cain appeared beside her. His hand found the small of her back. She has nothing to say to you, Wilder. I wasn't asking you, Frost. And I wasn't asking your permission. Cain's voice dropped to something lethal. You rejected her. Remember? Called her unworthy. Not strong enough. A mistake. So whatever you think you have to say now? 6 months too late. Ivy. Lucien ignored Cain. Focused entirely on her. Please. Just 5 minutes. Ivy should have said no. Should have let Cain handle it. But some part of her, the part that was still healing, needed to hear what Lucien would say. Needed to know if he regretted it. Fine. 5 minutes. Outside. She looked at Cain. I'll be okay. Cain clearly disagreed. But he nodded. I'll be right inside. You need me, you call. Ivy followed Lucien out to the balcony. The night air was cold. Sharp. She wrapped her arms around herself and waited. You look good, Lucien said finally. Different. Stronger. That's what happens when someone doesn't spend every day telling you you're not enough. Lucien flinched. I was wrong. About the rejection. About what I said. I was wrong. Ivy's laugh was bitter. That's what you came out here to say? That you were wrong. Yes. The mate bond was right. You are exactly what I need. I was too blind to see it. Too proud. Too stupid. So this is the part where you apologize? Where you ask me to come back. To give you another chance. Yes. Lucien stepped closer. I know I hurt you. I know I humiliated you. But the bond is still there. Damaged. Broken. But still there. We could fix it. Could try again. Could. No. The word hung in the air. Final. Absolute. Ivy, please. You rejected me in front of the entire kingdom. Let me collapse in pain while you watched from your throne. Didn't even check if I survived. Then Cain had to step in. Had to offer me protection. Had to give me what you should have. Ivy's voice was steady. Cold. So no. We're not trying again. We're not fixing anything. Because you don't get to break someone and then decide 6 months later you made a mistake. I love you. Lucien's voice cracked. I know I don't deserve to. No, I have no right. But I do. I love you. No, you don't. You love the idea of me. Love that I'm with Cain now and you can't stand it. Love that I survived and thrived without you. But you don't love me. Because if you did, you never would have rejected me in the first place. That's not. It is true. Ivy cut him off. And even if it wasn't, even if you genuinely loved me, it's too late. Because I chose Cain. Not because of a bond. Not because the moon goddess said so. But because when I was broken and bleeding and destroyed, he was the one who helped me up. He was the one who saw value in me. He was the one who gave me the chance to become this. She gestured to herself. So no, Lucien. We're not fixing anything. We're done. We were done the moment you said those words. Lucien looked like she'd struck him. You love him. It wasn't a question. But Ivy answered anyway. Yes. I do. She hadn't meant to say it. Hadn't fully realized it until the words left her mouth. But they were true. Somewhere in the last 6 months, she'd fallen in love with Cain Frost. With his brutal honesty. His patience. His quiet strength. With the way he pushed her to be better without ever making her feel lesser. He's using you, Lucien said desperately. To get to me. This whole thing is just a game to him. Maybe it started that way. But it's not anymore. Cain sees me. Really sees me. Not what he wishes I was. Not what he thinks I should be. Me. Exactly as I am. And he helps me grow. Helps me become stronger. Helps me be more. That's not using someone. That's loving them. I can do that too. I can. No. You can't. Because you'll always see me as the girl you rejected. Always remember that I wasn't your first choice. Always wonder if you made the right decision taking me back. Cain doesn't have that baggage. With him I get to start fresh. Get to be someone new. Someone better. Ivy, please. Goodbye, Lucien. Ivy turned toward the door. I hope you find someone who's worthy of you. Someone who fits. Someone you don't have to convince yourself to love. She walked inside without looking back. Cain was waiting. He took one look at her face and understood. Let's go home, he said quietly. Yes. Let's go home. They left Lucien standing alone on the balcony. The Alpha King who'd rejected his fated mate and lost her forever. Ivy didn't feel bad for him. Didn't feel guilty. Felt only relief. Because she'd said everything she needed to say. Had closed that chapter. Had chosen her own path forward. With Cain. The ride back to Frostmere Keep was quiet. Peaceful. Cain didn't ask what happened. Didn't push for details. Just held Ivy's hand and let her process in silence. When they arrived, Ivy stopped him before he could go to his own rooms. I meant what I said. On the balcony. I love you. Cain went very still. You told Lucien that? Yes. It's true. Ivy. Cain's voice was careful. You don't have to. I'm not saying it because I feel obligated. Or because I think you want to hear it. I'm saying it because it's true. I love you, Cain Frost. Love your brutal honesty. Love how you push me. Love how you see me. Love who I am when I'm with you. Love all of it. Cain cupped her face. His thumb brushed her cheek. I've loved you since the moment you accepted my claim. Since you looked at me with those defiant eyes and said yes. I was supposed to be using you. Playing a game. Getting revenge on Lucien. But then you became real. Became mine. Became everything. So what do we do now? Now. Cain's smile was soft. Genuine. Now we stop worrying about Lucien. Stop letting him take up space in our lives. We built something real. Something ours. Something that has nothing to do with mate bonds or revenge or proving anything to anyone. I'd like that. Cain kissed her. Gentle at first. Then deeper. Then desperate. 6 months of restraint breaking. 6 months of waiting. 6 months of building trust finally paying off. When they pulled apart, both were breathing hard. Marry me, Cain said. Not because of claims or politics or revenge. Because I love you. Because I want to spend forever with you. Because you're mine and I'm yours and nothing else matters. Yes. Absolutely yes. Cain's laugh was relieved and joyous. He picked Ivy up and spun her around. Then carried her toward his rooms. Their rooms now. Because Ivy Bell was done being the rejected mate. Was done being the girl who wasn't enough. She was Cain Frost's chosen. His equal. His partner. His future queen. And she'd never been happier. News of the engagement spread fast. Within days the entire kingdom knew. Cain Frost was marrying the girl Lucien Wilder rejected. The rivalry had reached a new level. Some wolves said it was romantic. Others said it was strategic. Most said it was both. Lucien said nothing. Made no public statement. Sent no congratulations. Just silence from the Western territories. But everyone knew he was paying attention. Knew he was watching. Knew he was regretting. The wedding was set for the spring. For months away. Cain wanted it to be perfect. Wanted Ivy to have everything she deserved. The dress. The celebration. The ceremony that made her his in front of the entire kingdom. But he wanted one more thing. Something that would drive the point home. Something that would make absolutely sure Lucien understood what he'd lost. I want to unite the kingdoms, Cain told his council one morning. Marry Ivy and announce that the Eastern and Western territories are merging. One kingdom. One rule. With Ivy and I as equals. The council erupted. Some in support. Some in outrage. The idea was radical. Revolutionary. 2 alpha kings sharing power? Unheard of. Impossible. It can work, Cain insisted. Ivy's already proven herself. She's strong. Smart. Capable of leading. And together we'd be unstoppable. No more rivalry. No more wars. Just peace and prosperity. Lucien will never agree, one advisor said. He'd see it as submission. As weakness. Then he'll refuse. And prove that his pride is more important than his kingdom's well-being. Either way we win. Cain sent the proposal to Lucien's court the next day. A formal offer to end the rivalry. To unite the kingdoms. To build something better together. He didn't expect Lucien to accept. Expected refusal. Expected anger. Expected nothing to change. He didn't expect Lucien to show up at Frostmere Keep 3 days later. Alone. Demanding an audience. You can't be serious, Lucien said. They were in Cain's study. Just the two of them. Ivy was training with the guards. Didn't know Lucien was here. Unite the kingdoms? Share power? With her as queen. Why not? She's more than capable. Stronger than half my alphas. Smarter than most of my advisors. And she's mine. So yes, I'm completely serious. This is about revenge. About rubbing my face in the fact that you took her. It was about revenge. First. But not anymore. Now it's about building something real. Something lasting. Something that doesn't depend on you and I hating each other for eternity. I won't do it. Won't share my kingdom. Won't bow to you. I'm not asking you to bow. I'm asking you to partner. To put aside the rivalry. To do what's best for both our territories. But if you can't. Cain shrugged. Fine. Keep your pride. Keep your kingdom. We'll build something better without you. Lucien's jaw clenched. You really love her. More than anything. And she loves you. Yes. I lost her. Lucien's voice was hollow. Really lost her. Not just to you, but completely. She'll never forgive me. Never give me another chance. No. She won't. Because you broke something that can't be fixed. You rejected your fated mate in front of the kingdom and destroyed any chance you had with her. So yes, you lost her. And you're never getting her back. I know. Lucien stood. I'll consider your proposal, the unification. But I need time. Need to think about what it means. What I'd be giving up. Take all the time you need. The offer stands until the wedding. After that. Kane's smile was sharp. After that we move forward without you. Lucien left without another word. And Kane sat alone in his study, wondering if the man was actually considering it. If pride would allow him to do the right thing. If Lucien could put aside his ego long enough to see the bigger picture. 2 months later, 1 month before the wedding, Lucien sent his answer. A formal letter delivered by his highest-ranking beta. He agreed. The kingdom would unite. Lucien and Kane would share power. Ivy would be crowned queen alongside them. 3 rulers. 3 equals. A new era for the northern kingdoms. But there were conditions. Lucien wanted to attend the wedding. Wanted to publicly support the union. Wanted to show the kingdom that he supported Ivy's rise to power. Kane knew what Lucien was really doing. Trying to save face. Trying to look magnanimous. Trying to pretend he was noble instead of desperate. But Kane didn't care about Lucien's motives. Cared only about the result. What do you think? Kane asked Ivy. They were in their rooms. The letter spread out between them. Do we let him come? Let him be part of this? Ivy considered. Yes. Because refusing would make us look petty. Would make it seem like we're afraid of him. And I'm not afraid anymore. So let him come. Let him watch. Let him see exactly what he lost and exactly what we built. You're sure? Completely. The wedding day arrived with perfect spring weather. Clear skies. Warm sun. Flowers blooming everywhere. The ceremony was held in the great hall of Frostmere Keep. Hundreds of wolves in attendance. Every important family. Every major alpha. The entire kingdom watching. And Lucien Wilder sitting in the front row. Alone. Watching the woman who should have been his marry his greatest rival. Ivy looked stunning. Her dress was silver and emerald. Her hair crowned with winter roses. She walked down the aisle alone. No father to give her away. No family to support her. Just herself. Independent. Strong. Choosing her own path. Kane met her at the altar. Took her hands. And smiled like she was the only person in the world. The ceremony was traditional. Vows spoken. Rings exchanged. But when the officiant asked for objections, silence filled the hall. Everyone looked at Lucien. Waited to see if he'd stand. If he'd protest. If pride would force him to make one last desperate move. Lucien stayed seated. Said nothing. Let the ceremony continue. I now pronounce you married, the officiant declared. King Kane Frost and Queen Ivy Frost. Long may they reign. The hall erupted in cheers. Kane pulled Ivy close and kissed her. Deep and possessive and completely in love. When they pulled apart, both were laughing. Joyous. Finally, officially bound to each other. The reception lasted hours. Dancing. Celebrating. Toasting the new queen. Ivy moved through the crowd with confidence. With grace. With the absolute certainty that she belonged here. That she'd earned this. That she deserved every bit of happiness she'd found. Near midnight, she found herself alone on a balcony. Needed air. Needed a moment of quiet. Needed to process everything that had happened. A year ago she'd been rejected. Destroyed. Left to die in pain. Now she was a queen. Married to a man who loved her. Building a life she'd never dreamed possible. Congratulations. Lucien's voice came from behind her. You look happy. Ivy turned. I am happy. Good. You deserve to be. Lucien moved to the railing. Kept distance between them. I meant what I said. About being wrong. About the rejection. I was a fool. Yes. You were. Do you ever wonder? What would have happened if I'd accepted the bond? If I'd chosen differently? Ivy considered the question. Really considered it. Sometimes. But then I remember that if you'd accepted it, I never would have met Cain. Never would have become this. Never would have learned I could be strong. So no, I don't regret how things worked out. Even though I'm your fated mate? Even though we were supposed to be together. Fate isn't everything. Choice matters more. And I chose Cain. Just like you chose to reject me. We both made choices. And we both have to live with them. I chose wrong. Yes, you did. But it's too late to change it. Too late to go back. We are where we are. And this is where I want to be. Lucien nodded slowly. Will you be a good queen? A fair ruler? I'll try. Every single day, I'll try to be worthy of this position. To help people. To make things better. That's all anyone can do. Then I'll support you. Publicly and privately. I'll help where I can. And I'll stay out of your way where I can't. That's my gift to you. The only thing I can offer now. My support. Thank you. That actually means something. They stood in silence for a moment. Then Lucien stepped back. I should go. Let you get back to your celebration. Your husband is probably wondering where you are. Lucien. Ivy stopped him before he could leave. I don't hate you. I did. For a while. But not anymore. You made a mistake. Huge one. But you're owning it. Trying to fix what you can. That takes courage. So thank you. For that. You're far more gracious than I deserve. But I appreciate it. Goodbye, Ivy. Be happy. Be strong. Be everything I was too blind to see you could be. Lucien left. And this time Ivy felt only peace. No anger. No resentment. Just closure. The final chapter of her rejection closing so a new story could begin. She found Cain inside. He was talking with some visiting alphas, but his eyes found her immediately. Always knew where she was. Always aware of her. He excused himself and crossed the room. You okay? Cain asked quietly. Saw you talking with Lucien. I'm perfect. We just said goodbye. Really goodbye this time. It's over. Good. Cain pulled her into his arms. Because I'm done sharing you with his ghost. Done letting him take up space in our lives. From now on it's just us. Building our kingdom. Building our life. Building everything. I like the sound of that. Dance with me, my queen. Always. They moved to the dance floor. The crowd parted. Let them have the space. Let them have the moment. King and queen. Partners. Equals. Two people who'd found each other in the worst circumstances and built something beautiful anyway. The music swelled. Cain spun Ivy across the floor. She laughed. Bright and free. The sound of someone who'd survived heartbreak and come out stronger. Someone who'd been rejected and found something better. Someone who'd been told she wasn't enough and proved everyone wrong. Across the room, Lucien watched from the shadows. Watched the woman who should have been his dance with the man who'd seen her value. Watched her smile. Watched her glow. Watched her be everything he'd been too blind to appreciate. Then he slipped out. Left the celebration. Left Frostmere Keep. Returned to his own territory and his own empty throne. And for the first time in his life, Lucien Wilder understood what real loss felt like. What it meant to have something precious and throw it away. What it meant to watch someone else treasure what you treated like trash. He'd rejected his fated mate. And she'd become a queen without him. 6 months after the wedding, the unified kingdom was thriving. Trade routes reopened. Old conflicts resolved. Wolves who'd been enemies for generations working together. And at the center of it all, Cain and Ivy. Leading together. Ruling together. Building something neither could have created alone. Ivy had proven herself 10 times over. She mediated disputes with wisdom beyond her years. Trained healers from both territories. Created programs to help young wolves find their place. She was everything a queen should be. Strong. Fair. Compassionate. Exactly what the kingdom needed. And Lucien kept his word. He supported her publicly. Deferred to her judgment in council meetings. Made it clear that she had his respect. It was awkward sometimes. Uncomfortable. But it worked. The three of them finding a balance. Learning to rule together despite the complicated history. You're distracted, Cain said one morning. They were having breakfast in their private rooms. A rare quiet moment before the day's chaos began. Just thinking. About how different everything is. A year ago I was nobody. Now I'm a queen. Wife to a king. Building something that matters. It's surreal. You were never nobody. You just needed someone to see it. Kane reached across the table. Took her hand. I saw it. That night at the ceremony. Saw how strong you were. How brave. How you survived something that should have killed you and still had the courage to accept my claim. That's when I knew. You were special. Even though you were using me? Even then. Maybe especially then. Because you saw through it. Knew what I was doing. And did it anyway. That takes guts. Or stupidity. No. Guts. Definitely guts. Kane stood. Pulled her up with him. Come on. We have a council meeting in an hour. But first, he kissed her. Deep and thorough. First, I want to remind you that you're mine. That I chose you. That I'll keep choosing you. Every single day for the rest of our lives. Good. Because I'm not going anywhere. The council meeting was routine. Trade discussions. Border disputes. Nothing urgent. Ivy contributed where she could. Offered solutions. Made decisions. The council had learned to respect her. To value her input. Even the oldest, most traditional alphas had come around. After the meeting, Lucien pulled her aside. Can we talk? Privately. Ivy glanced at Kane. He nodded. Trusting her. Knowing she could handle whatever Lucien needed to say. They went to one of the smaller meeting rooms. Just the two of them. Lucien closed the door and immediately started pacing. What's wrong? Ivy asked. I met someone. Lucien's voice was tight. My fated mate. The real one. Not you. Someone else. Ivy's breath caught. What? Apparently you weren't my mate. The bond we felt? It was something else. A false bond. They happen sometimes. Rare. But possible. My actual mate is a warrior from the Southern Territories. We met during a diplomatic mission last month. The bond snapped into place immediately. That's good, right? You found your real mate. It should be good. But all I can think about is what I did to you. How I rejected you. How I treated you. And now I have a second chance. Another mate. And I'm terrified I'll mess it up again. Terrified I'll let pride and stupidity ruin something precious. Ivy understood. Lucien was coming to her for advice. For reassurance. For someone who understood the weight of a mate bond and what it meant to almost lose it. What's she like? Ivy asked gently. Strong. Fierce. She doesn't take any of my nonsense. Challenges me constantly. Makes me work for every bit of respect. She's everything I need. Everything I didn't know I needed. Then don't mess it up. Don't let pride get in the way. Don't make her prove herself. Just accept the bond. Accept her. Love her for who she is, not who you think she should be. What if I can't? What if I'm too damaged? Too set in my ways? Then you'll lose her. Just like you lost me. And you'll spend the rest of your life regretting it. Is that what you want? No. God, no. I can't go through that again. Then don't. Be better. Do better. Learn from your mistakes instead of repeating them. Ivy stepped closer. Lucien, you're not a bad person. You're just a person. You make mistakes. Everyone does. What matters is what you do after. How you grow. How you change. This is your second chance. Don't waste it. You're far kinder than I deserve. Maybe. But I'm also happy. I have Kane. I have this life. I don't need to hold on to anger. Don't need to make you suffer. I just need you to be better. For your mate's sake. For the kingdom's sake. For your own sake. Lucien nodded slowly. Thank you. For this. For understanding. For being generous when you have every right to hate me. I don't hate you. I just don't love you. And that's okay. We both found where we belong. Let's leave it at that. Lucien left looking lighter. More hopeful. And Ivy felt good. Felt like she'd helped. Like she'd taken the pain of her rejection and turned it into something useful. Something healing. She found Kane in their rooms. He was going through reports but looked up when she entered. Everything okay? More than okay. Lucien found his real mate. Apparently our bond was false. A mistake. Cain went very still. A false bond. Yeah, means we were never actually mates. Just thought we were. The moon goddess had someone else planned for both of us. How do you feel about that? Ivy considered. Really considered. Then smiled. Relieved. Because it means there's no lingering what if. No wondering if we should have tried harder. We were never meant to be together. And that makes everything cleaner. Easier. Better. So you and I are exactly where we're supposed to be. Chosen mates. Not fated. But chosen. And that's better. That's so much better. Cain crossed the room. Pulled her close. I would have chosen you anyway. Fated or not. Bond or not. I would have looked at you and known. You were mine. Always were. Always will be. Good. Because you're stuck with me now. Queen and all. Best decision I ever made. Claiming you that night. Bringing you home. Falling in love with you. Second best. Ivy corrected. Best decision was kissing me just now. Cain laughed. Demanding little queen, aren't you? You love it. I really do. 2 years after the rejection, the kingdom celebrated the anniversary of unification. 2 years of peace, prosperity, growth. 2 years of 3 rulers working together. 2 years of proving that the old ways weren't the only ways. The celebration was massive. Wolves from every territory. Music, dancing, joy. And at the center of it all, Ivy and Cain. King and queen. Partners. Still deeply in love. Lucien was there too. With his mate Sarah. A fierce warrior who looked at him like he hung the moon and regularly threatened to kick his ass if he got too arrogant. They were good together. Balanced. Happy. Strange, isn't it? Sarah said. She and Ivy had become friends over the past year. How things work out. You and I both ended up exactly where we needed to be. Not strange. Perfect. You're good for him. Keep him honest. Someone has to. The man's ego is massive. But Sarah said it fondly. Lovingly. The way you insult someone you adore. They watched their mates talk. Lucien and Cain. Once enemies. Now allies. Maybe even friends. The rivalry hadn't disappeared completely. Probably never would. But it had transformed into something healthier. Competition instead of hatred. Respect instead of contempt. Do you ever regret it? Sarah asked quietly. The rejection? The pain? No. Because it led me here. Led me to Cain. Led me to becoming this. Ivy gestured to herself. To her crown. To her kingdom. I wouldn't change anything. Not even the worst parts. Because the worst parts made me strong enough to handle the best parts. You're wiser than your years. I'm a survivor. We learn fast or we don't survive. The celebration continued into the night. At some point, Cain found Ivy alone on a balcony. Their balcony. Where everything had started. Where she'd rejected Lucien's apology and chosen Cain completely. Thinking about the past? Cain asked. Thinking about the future. About what comes next. We've built something incredible. But there's more to do. More to build. More to create. Like what? Like a family. Like little princes and princesses who'll rule after us. Like a legacy that lasts. Cain's breath caught. Are you saying? I'm saying I want everything with you. Past, present, future. All of it. Forever. Then let's build it. Let's create something that outlasts us. That proves what we did here mattered. We already did that. The kingdom. The peace. The unity. That's our legacy. But I want more. Want something just for us. Then you'll have it. Whatever you want. However many children you want. Whatever future you dream of. I'll give you all of it. Ivy kissed him. Soft and sweet and full of promise. I love you, Cain Frost. Thank you for seeing me when no one else could. Thank you for giving me the chance to become this. Thank you for loving me. Thank you for accepting my claim. For trusting me. For building this life with me. For being brave enough to choose your own path. Cain rested his forehead against hers. I was supposed to use you for revenge. Supposed to hurt Lucien by taking you. But you became so much more. Became everything. Became home. We became home together. They stood there. King and queen. Watching their kingdom celebrate. watching wolves from once enemy territories dance together, watching peace they built. And they knew that every moment of pain had been worth it, every struggle, every tear, every heartbreak, because it had led them here, to each other, to this life, to this perfect, imperfect, beautiful reality they created from the ashes of rejection. Ivy Belle had been rejected by an alpha king, had been called unworthy, not enough, a mistake, but she'd survived. She'd thrived. She'd become a queen. And she'd done it by choosing herself, by refusing to let someone else's opinion define her worth, by building her own power, her own strength, her own future. And in the end, that was the real victory. Not that Cain had claimed her, not that Lucien regretted his choice, but that Ivy had claimed herself, had chosen her own path, had decided who she wanted to be and became exactly that. She was Queen Ivy Frost, chosen mate of King Cain Frost, ruler of the unified northern kingdoms, healer, warrior, leader, everything Lucien said she couldn't be, everything she'd proven she was, and she'd never been happier. The moon rose high over Frostmere Keep. The celebration continued below, but Ivy and Cain stayed on their balcony, holding each other, planning their future, building dreams, making promises. Two people who'd found each other in the worst circumstances, who'd turned pain into power, who'd built something beautiful from the ruins of rejection. Two people who'd chosen love over fate, partnership over destiny, each other over everything. And they lived. They ruled. They loved. They built a legacy that would outlast them, that would be remembered for generations. The queen who was rejected and became unstoppable. The king who saw value where others saw weakness. The love that started as revenge and became real. Their story became legend, whispered in every pack, told to every young wolf who felt like they weren't enough, who felt like they'd never measure up, who felt like one rejection had ruined their life. And the message was always the same. Rejection isn't the end. It's the beginning. It's the catalyst. It's the moment you get to choose. Choose to break. Or choose to build. Choose to let someone else's opinion define you. Or choose to define yourself. Ivy chose herself, and in doing so became everything. So if this story made you believe that rejection is just redirection, that being thrown away is just the universe clearing space for something better, that becoming who you're meant to be is the best revenge, drop a comment with a crown emoji. Let's flood this section with royalty. Because we're all queens and kings in our own stories. We're all capable of rising from rejection. We're all stronger than the people who underestimated us. And hit that subscribe button for more stories about rejected, mates who become unstoppable, rivals who see what kings miss, and love that's chosen instead of fated. Because the best love stories aren't about destiny. They're about choice. About deciding someone is worth fighting for. Worth building with. Worth everything. You're not broken because someone rejected you. You're not less because someone couldn't see your value. You're just waiting for your Cain Frost. For the person who'll look at you and see everything. Who'll help you become who you're meant to be. Who'll choose you. Every single day. Forever. And until that person shows up, choose yourself. Build yourself. Become so powerful that everyone who underestimated you will spend the rest of their lives regretting it. Become your own queen. Your own king. Your own legend. Because rejection isn't the end of your story. It's just the beginning of your transformation. And trust me, your transformation is going to be legendary. Now go. Build your kingdom. Become unstoppable. Prove everyone wrong. And remember, you were never the problem. They just couldn't handle how powerful you were going to become.